Quest arrived. Emergency. Queen's Quest arrived. Emergency. Queen's Quest
down to the queens.
Hello, ladies, gentlemen, and everybody inside and outside of the gender spectrum, and welcome back to Stardom Quest, the best weekly Stardom podcast anywhere in the world. I am, as always, Alex, and I am joined by Dylan. Now, Dylan, before you say anything, I have to address the Ami Sore joke from last week. I did not understand until people started talking about it, the implications of what I had said. The joke was meant to be that, Toa Hanare, he has this crazy Instagram page where he talks about being a primal bro and how semen retention makes him all masculine and gets him more testosterone and shit like this. And so I was like, oh, maybe Ami Sore should work on semen retention. And the joke was meant to be that as a biological female, she can't do that anyway. So the advice was just not good advice. It wasn't until people were like, that was insane, why did you say that I realized I was insinuating she should have the coitus. So,
coitus?
I did not mean it in a crude way. It was meant to be bad advice because, again, to my knowledge, Ami Sore is biologically a female, and therefore can't do that anyway. So, yeah, just thought that needed just, we had to get that out of the way.
See, I knew it the second you said it. I was like, I don't know why he's continuing. he shouldn't.
Yeah.
I don't think we should continue making this joke.
It flew right over my head. Completely did not comprehend it. So yeah, almost.
It was quite funny.
Bad one.
I found it quite funny.
A lot of people did. They were like, "Dude, that was so funny," and I was like, "Probably," but I don't know.
Also, a bit like 10 years from now, somebody's gonna come back and be like, "Did you say this?" It's like, "Oh no, I didn't mean it like that." No.
Yeah.
Yeah. So since we're kind of starting off with a little bit of I did want to bring up one thing because I feel like it's kind of important. It's a male wrestling thing. It's from the West, but like I think we all know what I'm talking about. And I just wanted to bring it up for a second. Because isn't it so fucking crazy that this past weekend, Kid Lycos lost his mask in a progress match? The biggest news coming out of male wrestling this past weekend. Fucking the shit wolf doesn't have his mask no more. Ain't that wild?
Did James put you up to this?
No. You know what? I came up with this joke by myself, and I was like, James is gonna like this one. like it was. Oh yeah, James is gonna like that. But yeah, ain't that crazy? The other guy in Schadenfreude doesn't have his one signature thing anymore. What a Brit Rest is dead.
Has been.
Oh,
It
yeah,
has been. It's really not good. All right. Well, I suppose we should get on to Stardom because that's the main thing. We could do Spotify Wrapped, but I don't think anyone cares. So, But the podcaster one isn't good. The podcaster one isn't good. It's very basic. It's very bland.
I remember they came out with it like I don't know. I think the second year that we were doing it, like they came out with like a decent one. We were like, oh, maybe it'll start getting good, and then it just kind of never improved from there.
No. I did learn New Zealand is like our number 2 listening hub. So the people in New Zealand, they love them some Stardom Quest.
Shouts out the Kiwis.
Yeah, and then I think India was number 5, and I'm assuming that's just Ash. Like I assume that's just Ash. So, I don't know. Maybe he doesn't listen, but maybe he does. So yeah, we had New Zealand, which was pretty interesting.
That also implies that like only like 8 people listen to the podcast if one person can make India the top 5.
Well, nah, like he might be very dedicated. I think it's more like.
Oh, is it like minutes?
I don't know how they do it, but I imagine because
Yeah,
can just be dedicated.
we got a tweet that somebody listened 10,000 minutes of just us.
Is that every minute we've produced? I don't know.
It has to be up there. 'Cause, like, I was thinking it's like 10,000 minutes is fucking a lot. Like, I know we talk a lot, but Jesus Christ. Like, I don't I don't think I've spoken to anybody this year that much outside of, like, my mother. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, 10,000 minutes is absurd, and y'all motherfuckers are just listening for 10. That's wild. We
it is.
appreciate y'all deeply, but also maybe get some help. Like, that's all I'm saying.
Wow.
Love you, appreciate you. uh, our lives would be a lot less great. Oh, a lot. I don't know where I was going
You're
with that.
better at
Thank
this than
you.
me, and you're messing up. This is meant to be
Yeah,
your
no.
thing. You're the
Um, we appreciate it. It's awesome.
we do. We do.
That people listen to us for some reason.
Indeed. Anyway, on to Stardom. So, interesting kind of week there. Did I delete it after finding it? No, I didn't. Okay. So we're already seeing some changes being made with the new president. He hasn't officially taken over, but he's basically taken over. Like he is.
Mm,
He has already changed everything. And the biggest thing is that in Tokyo Sports, he said that they're going to revise the touring schedule for Stardom. They're also going to reduce the number of big shows slash pay per views to about one per month. So that's kind of a big thing that a lot of people have been asking, not just to reduce the schedule, but to reduce the big events.
mhm.
They had already said they're not going to run big events during tournaments. So it really seems like they are scaling back just to help the talent take it easier. But probably also to help Rossi take it easier because his booking kind of has gone awry over the last year or so because he's been stretched so thin trying to fill two pay-per-views a month, whereas now you would hope things can kind of flow a lot better.
Yeah, it's strange. We talked about this before that it's like considering how many pay-per-views and how many shows they have, we really don't see that many title matches. So I imagine we'll just like kind of go back to the way it was to a certain degree, like 2 years ago, where it's like, oh yeah, there's a big show pretty much every month, and every month there's a championship match. Because now it's like we'll go like 3 months without a championship match because it's like you have to fill in slots to make things make sense, and before you can do a title match, and then it's like you don't want to. It's just a whole mess. So I hope that this does kind of just improve the overall flow of the cards, with only doing one show a month. I imagine that like is obviously um, kind of gonna go more into effect like post the big show in the spring
Mm.
because the schedule is pretty set for the next 6 months already. Like you can't change an entire January has like four pay-per-views, but that makes sense because it's uh, Wrestle Kingdom season and they have two on back-to-back days. Um, but so I imagine I wouldn't expect that to go into full effect for a bit, but I do think that maybe the Triangle Derby not seemingly being around is a part of that, um, in just lightening the schedule. So I don't
Yeah.
know.
Well, I think, the clear thing is that they seem to be listening.
Yes.
Because another thing that he said was they have like the word union was used, but I think it's loosely a union where the
It's
wrestlers
a
were going to be
committee.
able to like bring their concerns to the senior management. And obviously
Mhm.
that's something that Giulia was talking about in her interview the other week, where she was like, I was screaming to just, I want to wrestle a normal match. Let me do a normal match. And nobody was listening. And that came after the show starting late and her being like, what the hell is happening? And being laughed off. So it seems like the flow of communication is going to get better. It seems like the focus is going to be on putting on better shows rather than more shows. They want to put on more
Mhm.
good shows. Um, and, that's the kind of thing where, yeah, you're only running one pay per view a month, but it might be better to run one absolutely loaded pay per view as opposed to two where you're like splitting the ideas in half and doing a strap match or whatever.
I also think that like utilizing Korokens more is like the Korakin we're going to talk about today was loaded. There was
Mhm.
a lot of shit on it. Just do that. You have a Korakuen every month, you have a pay-per-view every month. That's one big show and one fairly big show. That's enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For a Joshi company like this, like that is definitely enough. Um, I don't think you need to have these like huge arena shows every, twice a month and end up getting 600 people in a 5,000 venue, like that's not very good for anybody. Um,
No, not at all. And I mean, let's
so yeah.
let's remember the golden stretch we all remember from Stardom was everything revolved around one cork in a month, right? Like the
Mhm.
Arisa Hoshiki days, the Momoatanabe days, the Kagetsu, Mayu. That was all, that era was done based around one big cork in a month that they could build to and have everything kind of focus on. So going back to that could definitely see kind of everything improve because definitely over the last few months, like they've let a lot of things get lax. I mean, I said it for a while, like they didn't have many stories going. They haven't built up many credible challengers to somebody like Mirai, whereas that didn't used to be a problem because they were so
Yeah.
focused on everything. So hopefully they can get back to that and just everything can work better for on all aspects really.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Um I think the schedule has been killing everybody. Really. Like it's been hard to be a not hard to be a fan, but um I don't know. That's one thing is that I think it could also improve the house shows just in general because house shows used to be very, very fun. And now it feels like they have to do house shows. You know what I mean? Like the it's weird to like put into words, I guess. Um I think that there has been a severe downgrade in quality on house shows in Stardom this year, especially. It started a bit last year, but I would say this year has been like noticeable to where like I don't really even want to watch a lot of the house shows that they run, um, because they run so many that it's like, what are you gonna do? You know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
what is a Hazuki gonna do when she has a move set that she's not gonna give all of it out every day of a 7 of a 7 show in 10 days? Like, that's ludicrous. Why would you do that? Just do as little as you can so that you don't die, and then, get ready for the next one. I think doing less shows in general will probably help that part of the roster. It might
Hmm.
make it harder for the younger roster, um, to, like, improve as much. I don't know if Mariah May would have
There's
improved so
actually an
quickly.
interesting thing about that, because
Mm,
Milano did an interview as well, where he was saying that, people like Miyu Amasaki, they were only able to train at the dojo like once a month because the schedule had them on the
that
road
makes
all the
sense,
time.
yeah.
So they couldn't even train up once they had debuted. It was like you train and debut and then you're on the road. So he actually had issues as well with the regime, Milano. And Milano, he's not the trainer. He was like, yeah, I'm there like once a month or whatever. But he was kind of saying like Miyu
He's the
Amasaki,
overseer, basically,
yeah.
of
But he
training
even
there.
he had said like Miyu Amasaki went on the road and wasn't able to get better at all. And like Hanako only debuted, like trained a few times and was on the road. So it seems like for the younger wrestlers, it could give them less reps in the ring,
Yeah.
but more time to train up their kind of base skills.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely an in between because I think, I know we bring it up basically every week and kind of shit on it, but I think there's like the AEW method and the Stardom method, or the AEW and the AJW method, um,
Hmm.
where it's like, oh, we're going to train you and then you're going to go on the road and you're never going to see this dojo again. You're never going to see your home again because you will be wrestling every single day of the year. Whereas AEW, it's like you will wrestle maybe once a month.
Yes.
Good luck. There's a in between, obviously. um, that's why I was but that was kind of what I was alluding to, where it's like, oh, maybe it could make it harder for these wrestlers to get better and like I was saying, like a Mariah May, I don't know how much insanely quick growth she would have if she wasn't on a schedule like this, but I also think that they aren't going to be downgrading the schedule enough to where it'll be noticeable that like, oh, she's not getting enough reps. Like they're gonna get
Hmm.
enough reps. It's just a
Especially with New
matter of
Blood.
yeah,
Like I think
yeah,
with New Blood, you're YUZUKIs are going to at least wrestle 90 matches per year regardless, and I think that's more than enough for any wrestler to kind of start improving. So
That is a funny thing. I think Valke tweeted it that Toa Leona shouts out the newest member of House of Torture. Um, he's wrestled like less matches than Hanako, and he's been wrestling for like 4 years, and Hanako's been wrestling for 6 months.
wow.
Um, that's like, and that's just an American issue. Like that's an American indie issue. That's an American company issue. Uh, you're just not getting enough reps most of the places you're going to be in America. Um, but yeah, I think that is a uniquely Joshi thing, is the insane schedules where it's like you are going to be working as much as possible to get as good as possible.
Mhm.
Um, but I do think overworking is a very real thing, regardless of that belief system.
Definitely. Kind of moving on from that, then Dave Meltzer had some reports in the Observer, kind of related to Stardom. The first one is that Suzu Suzuki was actually supposed to be World of Stardom champion right now. She was scheduled to beat Tam at the Nagoya Gold Rush show. So that's kind of interesting in that clearly somewhere along the lines they shook their plans up because Saya versus Tam was the obvious kind of match for a while.
Yeah.
And I think maybe they were just saying, okay, well, Tam has hurt herself and Saya is hurt. So maybe we're just going to pivot to Maika versus Suzu because that has a story that we can go with. Whereas they weren't sure if Saya and Tam were going to have enough time to do that. Whereas they obviously knew Suzu and Maika would be around. So,
We were kind of talking about it that like Tam didn't have many realistic challengers for year end outside of Saya.
mm,
That would make sense. You know what I mean? Like Mayu's probably busy, and if she's not, Mayu, but
yeah,
like that's it. Like barring injuries post, well, I don't know how long ago you could bar injuries, I guess. But like as of Suzu winning the tournament, right? I don't know who you could have put in there for Tam at year end if you didn't want to put Sai Kamatani in there fresh off injury.
yeah,
Which is fair. Like we'll talk about the match that they had. Saya looks great considering that she's been out for so long, but there is rust to the point where I don't think you would want her in the main event of your biggest show of the year. That's going to go 25 minutes and it's a singles match. Like that's fair. Like I get the reasoning behind them not putting Saya there. So I don't know who Tam could have faced if she wasn't injured. Her getting injured is just like a whole nother thing where it's like, oh fuck, now we really need to figure this out.
mm, yeah. And it seems pretty bad with Tam. Not to move on too quickly, but
Mm.
Dave, he also said that she vacated the belt. It was determined that due to her injury, she won't be back in time for the next major shows. And this is where it's kind of interesting to me. There was at least talk going around in recent weeks regarding how much longer she would wrestle. So I read that as there was talk within Stardom. Some people have read that as there's talk amongst the fan base, but I don't know. Like assuming Sonny or Fumi was
I
telling
think
him
that's
this,
a
I don't know why they would take the fan base into account.
yeah,
I would
I don't
imagine
think that's what Dave really does,
no.
like because I mean like let's look at it like this. There's been talks amongst the fan base that, you know, MJF was gonna lose the belt 9 months ago. You know what I mean? Like they're like to I think taking that as like a barometer doesn't really work. That has to be within the company or within the surroundings of the company, like Afumi, as you said.
Mm,
Um, yeah, I don't know. I mean, we've kind of been speculating that for a while. That Tam got this world title run before she was going to retire, because 3 years ago she said she's going to retire in 2 years. You know what I mean? Like
And then about like 9 months ago, she was like, "Oh, I'm looking for a successor now," and it was like, "Well, listen, like how many more
maybe
times
don't
can you
win the
tell
red
us?
belt then.
Yeah, how many more times you're going to talk about winding down before you wind down? Because yeah, Mayu does the same. She's like, I want to get married and wind down. And it's like, all right, honey, yeah. You've been saying this for 6 years now, like
Yeah. Never
so.
forget the time she said, "Oh yeah, I'm retiring this month. I want to go be a dog groomer," and then just didn't leave.
Yeah, it's
Like Rossi's like, I don't believe you. I'm not giving you a retirement show.
no, no.
And she's like, okay.
Yeah. With Tam though, it had definitely been like that knee injury looked bad, and
Hmm.
I think a lot of wrestlers would have a hard time coming back from something like that. But especially somebody with what 10 years of wear and tear of the Josie schedule. She's
I don't think
in
it's
her
10
mid.
years yet. I think
She's
it's
in her
been like
mid to late
6,
30s,
7.
maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know how old she
she's
is.
35, I think.
So, and especially as a woman, like knee injuries, like I follow women's football, and knee injuries are devastating to these
Yeah,
women's
she's
careers.
35.
So, I've seen it in women's sports a lot where a knee injury, especially in your 30s, can just completely take you out. So, I think it's the injury was really where I started to question Tom's future. So
As
I
did
think
I.
I think Dave kind of mentioning it makes it seem a lot more real that people within the company are kind of wondering when the clock is gonna kind of count down.
I don't know if I said this on the podcast or if I said this privately, but when she got injured, I was basically like, okay, well, if she's not back for Gold Rush, I don't know if she's coming back.
Yeah, you said
You
that
know
to
what I
me.
mean?
Yeah.
Where it's like, if she's not healthy for, you know, especially that she wasn't healthy for Nagoya and for the year-end show, I don't know if she's going to be coming back in any meaningful capacity. Uh, in that, like, she might have a retirement match, or like a retirement road type of thing, but I don't know if she will be, you know, in the game when she
Hmm.
comes back because of the nature of a knee injury and because of, she was it already felt like this red belt run was her last hurrah effectively. So I think this just kind of sped it up, unfortunately.
Yeah, I could see that for sure. And I mean, if Dave is saying it, then I think there's something to it because obviously he gets his information from within Stardom generally.
Hmm.
So there's got to be something to it there. We'll just have
That's
to wait and
Suzu
see.
news, which I didn't really talk about much when you brought it up. Crazy
Hmm.
if Maika wins, right? Um,
Which feels like it
it's
should happen.
possible.
We'll discuss that a bit later. Oh, you
Yeah.
didn't see Mike and Momo though, so you don't
No, I
get
did
it,
not.
but you
I
will
don't.
get it. I will explain it to you. Don't worry. But yeah,
I
that's
mean,
the
I
Dave
know
stuff.
the gravity of Maika versus Momo, and we'll talk about that when we
Oh,
get
it's
there.
not
But
even that. Like it's we'll get there.
yeah,
Another bit of news, another injury. Sadly, Lady C is
yes,
out with injury. She got hurt doing the Singapore run. They have announced that she will be out through December 10th. So she'll be back after that, or that's the
hopefully.
schedule. And this is one of the many changes I've seen from Stardom in the past week that is very positive. I think this exact timeline stuff is really good. And not from a nosy perspective, but I think it got to the point where because they were so secretive about injuries, every time somebody went down, it was like, okay, is this Starlight Kid where she's out for a couple of weeks, or is this Aya Sakura where we're on month 6? You know?
Hmm.
And so I think being so secretive led to people being like, what the hell is happening? Like everybody's dropping like flies. I was like, yeah, but some of them could just be a couple of weeks, or some of them could just be a weekend. But if you don't differentiate between the short term injuries and the Momokogos and Ayasakuras, everybody's just going to assume they're all Momokogos or they're all Ayasakuras. So I quite like this change to saying, hey, Lady C is hurt. Here's when she's coming back. It just gives people that sense of ease of, okay, it's a small thing. It's only a couple of weeks, as opposed to the kind
Yeah,
of
but I also get
panic.
why they don't, because if Lady C, you know, like what injury does she have again? Did they disclose that? Do you know?
Let me check again. Neck injury.
Yeah, like if she sleeps wrong on her neck on December 9th, then she's gonna be like, I'm gonna be out for a couple more days, and I think they don't want to have to do that. Where it's like, oh, sorry, we were wrong. It's gonna be a few more days. Oh, sorry, we were wrong. It's
I
gonna be a
don't
few more
know.
days. I agree with you totally, but I also get from a like card is subject to change point of view where they're like, we don't want to spring this on people, uh, because we were a day off in our calculations type of thing.
Well, I don't think they
But
would
I
leave it
agree
that
with you.
close, to be fair. Um, but I do think it's normal for injury timelines to change.
Yes.
Maybe that's just the sport fan in me, but you know, a guy can go from missing 2 matches to 4 in an instant, and that's just kind of how it is.
I miss Koguma. I wonder how Koguma's doing.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
Because she looked like it was going to be like just like she's out for the remainder of the month, but she's not on any of these cards coming up, so that's a bit worrisome. But also, I believe Koguma is one of those people, and I know there are some people in the company that are a lot more like, if I'm injured, I'm taking my fucking time off. Like, I am not gonna come back any sooner than I have to because I don't want to get more injured.
Mm.
Obviously, and Koguma is one of those types, as is like an Aya Sakura. So the injuries are rough and they're bad, and they are obviously plaguing this company. But I also think a lot of them are probably a bit more of like, okay, well, we're going to keep you out for as long as we can kind of keep you out to make sure that you're fully healed and you
Hmm.
don't re-agitate it when we don't really need you to. Koguma's not really doing much. Like, we don't want her re-agitating it in a three-way match against Hina and Fukigen Death. Like, if she doesn't have to be there, she doesn't have to be there, type of thing.
Yeah, no, that's fair. And I definitely I'm all for that approach, but health is health. You can't really take it for I forget the word now. It's gone.
Granted,
Granted, yes, you can't take it for
you were
granted.
about to say it, and then you're just like, no, that's not right. I was like, it was.
Yeah, I don't know, I was lost. But yeah, no, I can see why they would be like. I think all of the injuries now are just them being cautious. Like I think Lady C could have worked on the injury. They just were like, nah, we're not gonna risk it. So, which
Yeah,
is fair.
which is good.
Yes, definitely. Now they have announced the full card for the December 2nd show. This is in the Dolphins Arena.
Well, we're gonna preview that
We will.
today.
That's very true. I cannot believe that's in 3 days because the
It's
month changing will always mess me up. Um,
oh
but
shit!
we
It's already
do.
December.
I know, right? But we do have the full card for that. It's a light-ish card, but you know what? We will take it. They've also announced the cards through December 10th. The interesting stuff to note is Aliss Ink is sticking around and she's teaming with God's Eye a lot in main events. Megan Bayne is also still around, which I'm kind of surprised by. I thought she might be gone by now. Hanan is back on the docket. I think she was going to be around anyway.
Yeah,
Um,
she's been around outside of the one.
and I think that's it. I don't think anybody else is like back. It's just the two foreign wrestlers are still around.
Around. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Saki
Mayu
Kasumo was
still
also
isn't back.
announced. Yeah,
Mayu is
Mayu's also not back.
interesting. I really
Which
thought that would be a short term thing.
I I wonder what's going on with that because
I don't know.
I don't know if I don't know. Trying to remember if I was sworn to secrecy on something.
You
Because
probably were.
yeah, no, but
Do you
I
want to
feel
like
like
message it to me so I can see if you're allowed to say it?
yeah, we can move on,
All right. Okay. Um,
but I'm gonna message it to you
okay.
real quick. Um,
We can pause for a second anyway.
yeah,
After.
that
Yeah. All right. Well, I don't know how I'm going to cut that to be seamless, but you know what? We'll make it work. Dylan did not, give away all of our secrets. Yeah, that's the kind of interesting stuff from those lineups. Is no Mayu, kind of no returns really. But the two foreign wrestlers are sticking around, and Alice Ink has got some direction because she's not doing singles matches anymore, which some people might be happy about, some people might not. We'll have to talk about
I think
that.
she'll do a lot better in tag match. I mean, I said this last week that
Yes.
it's like, oh, she'll probably do great with Sherry when they tag together. And thank God they're actually tagging together because I think that'll be really fun.
Yeah, I mean, I think she's cool as a tag wrestler,
Yeah.
or would be anyway. Um, so there was a show last Thursday in Nagoya. We have
Mm.
to review that. All right, so 4 different shows to review. 3 of which are house shows, and one was an important Korakuen. So I didn't watch everything from the house shows, and obviously neither of us had time to watch everything from the Korakuen. It only went up earlier, so we were kind of picking and choosing. But I think there was some interesting stuff on the house shows that's at least worth kind of diving into. So the first one was on November 23rd. This was Stardom in Nagoya in the International Conference Center event hall in front of 432 fans. In the opener, Miyu Amasaki beat YUZUKI in just under 9 minutes. So
I
Yuzuki,
think that's the interesting part of this, if I can, before we get into
Yeah,
it.
go ahead.
Um, Aya Sakura and Hanako started with only doing 5-minute matches outside of their
Mm,
first matches, right? They had like longer first matches against, bigger talents, and then they started doing like exhibition matches, which were 5-minute time limits. And I don't know if Aya Sakura wrestled longer than 6, 7 minutes in a singles match. So Yuzuki's already here, right?
mhm.
I think that's an important thing to kind of differentiate is that Hanako, when she first started, was not wrestling even 8-minute matches in singles matches, at least. Same with Aya Sakura, especially not outside of young blood, new blood. uh, but so I thought that was an interesting thing to just kind of note that all of these Yuzuki matches were longer than like 5, 6 minutes. Like they went a decent amount of time. Uh, this one kind of, I think, it suffered a little bit. I thought, oh, this was like a minute shorter. It probably would have been a bit better. But yeah, I thought that was interesting to note.
Yeah, I kind of want to speak about Yuzuki in a broader term because I think
Mm,
reviewing one match out of the four isn't really helpful because she changed so much between match one and match four. Although I
yeah,
didn't get to see the fourth one, admittedly.
it was her
Um,
best.
yeah,
It was her and Rena were really good. Yeah.
that's good. Because yeah, I thought this was kind of like after this match with Amasaki, I was like, okay, we might need to have a little come down here on the Yuzuki stuff because there was a lot of awkwardness, a lot of dead air, just those kind of little seconds of hesitation that you get when a wrestler isn't fully there yet.
Hmm.
Like, it reminded me of Ronda Rousey a bit because Ronda, she has that like second sometimes where she has to go, "Oh yeah, this is what I'm doing," right?
The
And you can
millennial
kind of
pause.
yeah, like you kind of notice when you watch Ronda Rousey, she's still not like fluid yet,
Hmm.
and she has that like little hesitation before she does stuff. I thought Yuzuki did that here, and so there was a lot of like dead air, a lot of different like pauses. I thought the crowd was pretty shit though. The crowd dragged this
That
whole
was a
show
big problem.
down, so I
Yeah.
think that hurt both of them. But I did think Yuzuki was a lot better, even by like the Hina match. Like I thought that was really, really well done.
Mm.
So from even this to match number three, she got a lot cleaner. Like the Hina match was fully clean, like no issues at all in the ring. So this was only her second match. I'm not saying she was dead on arrival,
I
but
think
it's
Yuzuki is washed.
yeah, she sucks. Get her out of here. Send her back to training.
That is
Uh,
something that I find very funny, just very quickly, because I was looking at Hanako's cage match for a second, and she has a 5, and I'm just like,
wow.
she's been wrestling for 6 months, guys, like properly. I don't think it's time to be rating her on cage match. Like that's crazy. You're judging these like young wrestlers off of their 6 matches that they've ever had, and it's like,
Yeah.
I think she's bad. It's like, no, she's just 6 matches in, homie. I don't know how that works, but
There should be like
yeah,
a limit on cage match. Like you
yeah,
shouldn't be able to review until they're a certain amount of years in or a certain amount of
or at
matches.
least at least amount of matches. Like give them give them 100 matches before you. I guess Mariah May was that's the issue is that like I said, America and UK is different from Japan.
Yeah.
Because there can be a wrestler who's been around for 6, 7 years and has wrestled 80 matches.
Yeah. Well, some of that is just not stuff documented on cage match. I mean,
That's true.
like I know in Ireland, there's like touring shows that family friendly wrestling that go all over the
Mhm.
country, and obviously they're not on cage match, but they're reps either way.
Yeah, totally.
And I think Mariah May did similar. She
Yes,
has
she
said
did
she did
have
All
like
Star
30
Wrestling.
more matches than
Yeah,
Cage Match said.
so I think for especially in like the UK, that's probably a big thing. There's a lot of people doing unregistered matches for that stuff.
Hmm.
But yeah, either way, cage match should probably have a term limit or something for rating some people. But yeah, I think Yuzuki like between match one and match three tightened up so much that I was like, this is definitely like she's living up to the hype. Like by match three to keep up with Hina, who isn't like a super worker, but is an experienced pro wrestler. Like, to keep up with her so easily says a lot about how good Yuzuki is going to be.
Yeah, and I think that Hina match, if anybody who was kind of behind it was Hina of the two.
Mm.
Um, and that's because she has rust. I looked it up. She hasn't had a singles. This is her first singles match, since like May. So,
Wow.
you know, like I can't really blame her much.
Mm.
But yeah, I thought that match, like if there was any downfalls to it, it was mainly just Hina kind of being a step behind where she can be sometimes.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, no, I totally agree. I think that Yuzuki's already improved greatly, and I think the arena match was legitimately very good. Um, it yeah, Yuzuki's still really good. This Miyu match was a bit. It left some to be desired. As I said, I think
Hmm.
Miyu and Yuzuki kind of feel like they can be kind of something. This match didn't tell me that, but you know, I I'm interested in how they both progress because I think we kind of forget that Miyu is still like trying to grow a lot more because she isn't there yet.
Yeah, that's true. Yuzuki's entrance theme, I love it. I really love it.
Okay,
Uh,
I
it's so good.
I still like it. Like I don't mind it, but it reminds me of Friday by Rebecca Black.
That's why it's
Um
so good. That
yeah,
is a
no,
hood classic.
like
Hood
it
classic.
kind of it kind of has that vibe where I was like, "Oh, this is kind of not good, but I like it. It's good. I like it." And like the breakdown after the kind of Rebecca Black part, the breakdown's really good. So yeah, I'm more on your side than not, but it is
Okay,
funny because I was
that's
like,
good.
"Oh, I'm just gonna hear Friday from now on when I hear this song."
That's fair, but we love Rebecca Black. I think she's
Yeah,
nice.
shouts
She's
out to her.
cool. But yeah, no, Yuzuki is like I do not skip the entrance. I watch it now, start to finish, and it's very good. Um, the match after that was Starlight Kid beating Unimizumori Mori and Hanako. Kid won with the Black Tiger Leg Destroyer on Unimon in nine and a
Still
half
a dumb
minutes.
name.
Yeah. Uh, was this was the only Unimon match that happened because she got pulled from the next few shows,
No,
or
she
did she
she
wrestle on
got
Saturday?
injured on the next match. Yeah, she
Right.
she got
Okay.
injured in the next
Yeah,
match.
because she was off for 2 shows there, but she is back right away. We had Scandinavian Hurricane beating Saida in 7.5 minutes with a right high kick. Alice Inc
Ink's
is another
vibe
one.
does not work as well on these smaller shows.
Yeah,
Um,
I think she's somebody else that we should talk about in like totality.
mhm.
Kind of like Yuzuki. I think she definitely got more accustomed to it. Like I think the Hanako match and the
The
Tekla
Hanako match
match.
was like actually good. Like I thought the
Yeah,
Hanako match was actively good.
yeah, I think she started to like get with it by then. But this and the other one I thought with Rocca, I
Yeah.
think doing techers with like really small powerhouses is not a great choice.
No,
I think it just didn't flow very well.
it's a
Um,
noticeable styles clash.
it is.
And I
It
also
is.
do want to bring up since uh we're just kind of talking about it now. Alice Ink versus Ruaka was very funny because I don't know if it was Ruaka advocating for herself, but somebody told Alice Ink to not kick Ruaka, which is very funny
Yeah.
because Alice Ink did not throw a single kick outside of the finish. And no shoot kicks. Like there's a difference between like a head kick that you kind of like you could see that they kind of whiff on it on purpose, and like a
Mm.
shoot kick to the leg. She was not even throwing that shit. Ruaka was not dealing with that, and I found that very funny. Saida did have to deal with that,
Yes.
which made it like an inch better, like a tiny bit, a smidge better. But I didn't think either of them were particularly good matches.
No, no, it was definitely like I think Alice was just getting up to grips with it because
Mm.
obviously the house style is just so different from like middle of Europe. Like the Central Europe is just I wouldn't say a wasteland of wrestling, but it's certainly not the
It's a
greatest
different animal.
quality. Yeah, it's just completely different. So I think with these two matches especially, I think she was just getting to grips with just how different the style is here. And I thought by the
Which I
Tekla
think
match she did get it kind of together. And I'm interested in how she does in tags because I think if she picks her spots in tags, she'll look a lot better than having to kind of carry a match doing her techers.
Yeah, and I think that the Hanako match, I kind of pinpointed that one a bit more even so
Mm,
than the Tekla match,
that was good, yeah.
uh, because it felt like the styles clash, but it worked, right? Because I think her versus Ida and her versus Ruaka was a styles clash, and it just kind of fell apart because of it. I felt
Mm,
like her and Hanako, it felt like they were, it was a story. Like the styles clash was the story, and it was done well. Uh, where it's like, oh, well, Hanako could really just run her over. But
yeah.
Alice Inc. is like she could also just, you know, make it so that she can't run anymore. So like that's like kind of the intrigue in it. I think that they just couldn't really do that with Ida and Ruaka, right? Like that, those are the matches they just couldn't really.
Yeah,
They couldn't find a vibe like that. It just felt like, oh, this doesn't really work. Um,
I
and I
think
think
as
that's why the
well.
Hanako match stood out.
Yeah, I think as well, Ida and Rocca are like so small that she wasn't able to judge
Yes,
the kicks properly, which is probably fair, because you probably like your form is probably completely different. Whereas with Hanako, she's taller, so I think Ink was able to throw the kicks with a lot more certainty.
and Ida's
Um,
like uniquely small. She's like short
yes,
too,
yeah,
so it's like I get it.
yeah. So Alice is another one. I think after the
Arisa used to have to like kick down at her when she would do
yes,
the question mark kick,
oh
and that's
man,
why it always looked disgusting because it
mm,
wasn't just a kick; it was like her slicing her neck off with it.
it was very good.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think Ink is somebody who I'm happy to see her stick around. I think there's something there with her in Japan, but it definitely wasn't there in the first two matches. But I could see her kind of getting to grips with it by the third and fourth match. So, kind of hopefully that kind of keeps going. Because yeah, I think Ink is cool. I think she's got a good presentation. You could definitely like do something with a wrestler like her. So fair play.
yeah.
Um, the match after that then was Nanai Takahashi and Hanan beating Natsuko Tora and Rocca. Hanan pinned Rocca in 12 and a half minutes with 17. Technically by right, Nanai and Hanan should have come out to Hanan's theme because she has a belt, and that would have been really good. Imagine Nanai
One of
walking
the themes
out
is better
to
though. Nanai's theme is like
no, it,
one of my
uh,
favorite songs ever.
the visual of Hanan with that song was pretty cool, but I think the visual of Nanai with "Wish
Would
You
be very
Happy Your
funny.
Sunshine," yeah, would have been a
Yeah.
lot funnier. So, I'm
They
just
worked
saying, just
surprisingly
saying,
well together, by the way.
he did, yeah,
Um,
and Nanai was actually really good.
Nanai
She was
loves
motivated.
Hanan. Like she was tweeting and posting on Instagram like a bunch of stuff about it. I was like, I don't even need to give Hanan a passion injection. She gets it. This girl gets it. She's gonna be
Mhm.
great. She's gonna be the future legend. Like she's like Hanan. She was like Hanan asked me to write passion on my arm, and we both write it on our armband, and I fell in love with her. Like she's my favorite.
That's
She's my
cool.
favorite child now.
I think she really
um,
wants to bring something out of Rocca as well. Like she
yes,
seems like
100%.
extra like I'm gonna get Rocca to this next level if it kills us. Like she really has something there with Rocca as well.
Totally.
So I
Yeah,
thought
I
that
really
was
like
that
this
was
match. I
good.
thought this was fun.
Yeah.
I thought that like Oedo has been cheating a bit more in recent
Mhm.
matches, and I'm just
Yes.
like, I don't really mind it as much as I used to, but I'm still like, this doesn't feel really necessary in certain instances,
Mr.
especially
Okada
because
is watching too much House Torture.
yeah. But that's the thing is that it's like House of Torture is so unique with it that it's like it's very hit or miss. Where it's like sometimes it's the greatest thing ever. Oedo Tai's never really either. It always just kind of like a bit. It just makes the match a little bit worse. It doesn't make it like actively like bad, but it just like kind of takes it down a little bit. And it doesn't usually ever like make it better outside of that one BMI 2000 versus 7 Up match where I thought it made it better. Um, which was a rarity. But yeah, Oedo has been cheating a bit more. Like Kid just got in the ring and started like beating up Nanai. Uh, to the point that when Nanai and Hanan won, Nanai's like, "Bro, we just beat you 3 on 2. Think about that. Think about it." I found that very funny because she was right. Um, yeah, I thought this was quite good. Like you said, Ruaka and Nanai are still, kind of doing something there. Hana and Ruaka are obviously eternal rivals, so they did some good stuff with the closing stretch. Um, yeah, Nanai was after the match was like, Ruaka, you need to remember the passion that I injected into your heart. And Ruaka's like, please shut up. Please stop. This is weird. I don't want. No, I'm not passionate. She's like, you're passionate though. You have passion. She's like, please shut up. And then
Rocca's a
she
beast,
leaves.
man.
Yeah.
Rocca is
Oh, I
such a
love
beast.
Ruaka. Ruaka is like super underrated as a character wrestler. Um, because she like she gets the character aspects like down to a T. She gets who she's supposed to be, and I think that's something that not everybody does. But also now everybody looks at as like a you know meaningful thing when it is.
Yeah, I mean, kind of. Yeah. She isn't getting escargot chance over though, so she's being lapped by a certain lady. But we'll get to that later.
Mm,
The next match was Suzuki wrestling Megan Bayne to a 15-minute time limit draw. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, this was not very good.
This was
Um,
bad.
I thought Megan was like, I watched this and was like, oh, Megan is cooked. Like she has used up the entire bag of tricks. Because like when Suzu wasn't on offense, this was so boring. But again, I think that's just the
I
crowd
didn't even
being
think that
dead.
the Suzu offense was very good. I thought it all
Yeah,
just like
yeah.
near the end it started kind of picking up, but not enough to make up for like
No.
12 minutes of just nothing, right?
Yeah. But
Um,
I think the crowd being dead didn't help. Like I think they were
no.
clearly going for something, and the crowd was just sitting on their hands. So I like based on this alone, I would have criticized Megan Bayne, but then I thought she was really good in the next two matches I saw her in. So I'm
Mm,
just gonna write this one off as the crowd kind of killed it more than anything.
yeah. I
Um,
also think that like they were very clearly doing the David versus Goliath thing, and it
mhm,
felt like it was just too much Goliath. You know what
yeah.
I mean? And then there wasn't a satisfying ending as well, which kind of kills the David and Goliath. I don't think it works as well, especially because Suzu was like a David versus Goliath draw works if the underdog like survives. Like
Mhm.
Suzu getting a comeback kind of ruined the match from a story wise, but it also was the only good part of the match. So this just was a wash, I think. Like this, it just didn't work in my opinion.
Yeah, it didn't have the bells and whistles that the Tam match kind of did, where
Mm.
Tam like kicking out of the F5 was like the big moment. Obviously, her being the first to like slay the beast was also
The
part of
only
the match.
to as of now.
So far, yeah. Whereas this had neither of that. Like this didn't have those kind of additives
Utami's
that
next
made the
though,
Tam
but
match
you
work.
know.
Yes. Um, and then the main event of the show was Suri, Mariah, and Ami Sourei beating Giulia, Maika, and Mai Sakurai. Ami Sourei got the win for her team in just under 16 minutes with the like a thunder drop or thunder drop.
Bolt. It's a bolt,
Thunderbolt.
but
I was like, it's either drop or bolt, but I felt drop. But I was wrong. I didn't
you
really.
switch up. You switch up.
I do, I do. I didn't really watch any of the main events. They all looked very like basic 3-on-3
Yeah.
tags that we've
Same
seen.
actually. I watched all
Yeah,
the promos afterwards, but I didn't watch any of the matches.
that's fair.
Um, did you see any of the promos?
No, they'd kind of been recapped a lot already.
Mm.
And I did want to give credit to Ami and Micah. Like they spent a week
Ami
trying to build their
Ami
match.
was struggling through this.
Kind
Um,
of, yeah, but she
the
didn't have a
no,
lot to
but
work with, in
the
fairness.
quietest I have ever heard a crowd was when Ami would like stall for applause, which is
Uh,
normal. Like that's a thing. That's a thing that like wrestlers do. Like if you notice it, you notice it, but it's because you don't really notice it because people usually clap,
mm,
right? These motherfuckers were not giving Ami anything. And she was like saying like she was going at like she was doing well. Like
mhm.
her like it wasn't like her execution was bad or like she was stumbling on her words or that like she was committed, she was like in it, she was really but the fans just don't like her in comparison to Micah. So like it was rough. Um she said that Micah's destiny was not to win the red belt and that she simply should give up on trying. And Micah basically said, "This shit is hard, man. Give me a break. I'm trying." And I thought that was kind of funny. Ami spit in her face and told her to get the fuck out. And then Micah stiffed her with a slap, one of the stiffest. Jesus, one of the stiffest slaps I've seen in a minute. Like she fucked her up. And yeah, I thought that was great. I was like, "Ooh, I'm actually into an Ami match now. I'm excited to see it." That's crazy.
They
And yeah,
did a
I thought
great
that was
job. Like
cool.
I knew Stardom was back as soon as they were doing this, and I was like, "This is what we've been missing for weeks: is just wrestlers with direction and something to like bite into and
And
actually
it's
work
very
with."
small. It's
It is
very
tiny,
small. Like
minuscule.
it's just like, "Oh, I want to beat you in the first round of this tournament." That's all this was.
Yeah.
It just had venom to it, which is like that's the perfect wrestling story. You
Hmm.
know, you don't have to be elaborate. You don't even have if it's there. I really like the Ami and Micah stuff that they were doing this past week.
It was good, and
Yep.
it all capped off with that Corkin.
Hmm.
But our next show, anyway, was Stardom in Sayama on November 25th. This is in the Sayama Citizens General Gymnasium. They did 301 fans here. The opener was Amisori beating YUZUKI in just under 8.5 minutes, and but like we went over Yuzuki. I don't think there's a point in going over it again.
Hmm.
She then Ami Soya wrestled back to back because Unimon was pulled from this show. She beat Hanako in 6 minutes with a blue thunder bomb. So Hanako lasted less time than Yuzuki, but I also
It
think
was
they
also
like
very funny because Hanako ran out
yeah
like she was cashing in the money in the bank
yes.
to start, and she started whooping Ami's ass, and she still lost in 6 minutes. But I thought that was a really funny visual.
Hmm. I think the quick start is why it was shorter as well. Like they
Mhm.
just they had a story to go with and just did it instead of lengthening the match, which is pretty cool. We then had Hanan and Saida beating Hina and Miyu Amasaki when Hanan pinned her sister with a blockbuster hold in 9 minutes.
Is it the Hanan special? I think.
Yeah, probably the backdrop driver.
Oh no, it's yeah. I guess it would be that. I don't know. It was something. She beat
All
her
right.
in
Okay.
some way.
We then had Aliss Ink
Let's see
beating
if I can find
Araka
it.
in just under 7 minutes with a right high kick. And yeah, you and I kind of went over this already.
Alice and
Um,
finish. Okay. Yep.
okay. Siri and Mirai beat Megan Bayne and Yuna Mizumori. Oh, Yuna Mizumori was on the show. It must have been
Mhm.
Lady C that was pulled then to
No,
change the
Lady C
opener.
was on the Singapore shows.
She would have been back by this. This was on Saturday or so, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, they weren't back by Saturday.
Oh, then who was pulled to make
No
Ami
idea.
do double duty?
No idea, honestly.
That is, yeah, I'm confused. All right, well,
Because I feel like we would have peeped it if it was there.
it must have been Lady C
Oh wait.
because
Oh,
Hina
oh,
was
this is what it
Hina
was.
not
This
meant
is
to be
what it
in a
was. This is
different
what
match?
it was. Momo was pulled from the Singapore shows. And in her place, I think somebody else went.
No, I don't think
Um,
so. He just
wait, that's
changed
the
the
wrong show.
matches. I think Lady C was back for this.
I'm checking the. Hold on.
This is crazy. We have
No,
no
that was
idea.
already scheduled.
Really? Then
Yeah, they
what
have
the
both the match
heck?
cards up like for the schedule, which they don't change like day of.
No, I think they did. Ami Sourei was definitely not wrestling 2 matches in a row. Somebody somewhere was pulled from this show and they changed it. I don't know who, but you
Yeah,
know
no
what?
idea.
It's
I'm gonna be
fine.
real.
It doesn't matter.
Apologies.
Um, our main event was Giulia, Maika, and Mai Sakurai beating Natsuko Tora, Starlight Kid, and Rina. And Maika pinned Rina with a Michinoku driver number 2. Um, third show to review was
Oh, that show. Just real quick after the main event. Very funny because Micah was like, "Yeah, I heard Ami got her ass beat by some rookies earlier. I hope she's okay." And Ami just walks in, like she comes in, she's like, I didn't get beat up. I won." And Micah's like, "Yeah, okay." She's like, "But I won the match." And Micah's like, "Yeah, but that's not what this is really about." So yeah, Micah was just kind of owning Ami Sore on this show. I thought it was quite funny.
what an interesting person Maika
They
is.
also waved off to Tekla in the general vicinity of Singapore. Um,
Okay.
yeah, those were the things after the match.
You know what? Fair enough, honestly. The next show anime was on November 26th. This is Stardom in Koriyama. This is in the Big Palette Fukushima. They had 523 fans for this one. In the opener was Hina versus Yuzuki. Hina won in 8 minutes with a Rabuka, whatever that is.
Big ending.
Um, oh, I see. And yeah, as I kind of
They had
said
a good
before,
forearm exchange. That's the one thing that we didn't talk about. They
yeah,
had a Izuki's forearms really good. Hina's forearms are better than they used to be. That was like a very high spot of this match, in my opinion.
yeah, no, this was a really clean, well done match, I thought, and it was when I was like, okay, Yuzuki is definitely the truth. Um, we had Starlight Kid beating Miyu Amasaki in 9 minutes with a Black Tiger leg destroyer. Not a good week for Miyu Amasaki. I didn't think this was very good either. I think Starlight Kid, like legwork matches, are probably some of the less enjoyable things on the
I've
house
ever
shows
seen in
whenever
the
they do
world.
them.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, yeah, they're not great. So yeah, I didn't love that one all that much. Scandinavian Hurricane beat Hanako in 7.5 minutes with a cross armbar. And yeah, as I said earlier, that was kind of the first real kind of Aliss Ink match where I went, okay, she's getting there. She's putting it together.
Yep.
Um, Maika and Mai Sakurai beat Hanan and Sai Ida. Mai Sakurai got her win back over Ida with a diving elbow drop in just under 7 minutes. Wow.
I will say, did you watch this?
No.
I only saw the finish, but the finish looked a bit sketchy because like Hanan was definitely supposed to make the save. Like it wasn't like a her falling short thing. I think
Right.
she literally tripped on the way into the ring. And like the ref pulled his arm when he counted 3, but then it was like, "Oh, she's still there," and then just rang the bell.
Hmm.
So it kind of felt like maybe there was more to it. But that also might just be cope. Like that's also very possible. But it did feel like there might have been a like the finish might have been a bit
Yeah, I think
weird.
Stardom wrestlers tend to just kick out when their partner isn't there. So I don't know. But I
Sometimes,
guess
sometimes,
it is Mai's finisher, so maybe they wanted to protect it a bit more.
sometimes, and the thing is that yes, that, and also Saya wasn't looking in the direction of where Hanan was coming from, so I
Right.
don't think she could have known if Hanan like tripped or not. Uh, so I don't really know either. That like because I know
Okay.
what you mean, but sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. They kind of play it by ear with certain moves.
Mm, that's fair. Our next match then was Giulia and Megan Bayne wrestling to a 15-minute time limit draw. Megan
A
Bayne,
year from now, this might be a proxy war.
yeah. Um, Megan Bayne, I owe you an apology
Yeah,
because holy shit, her and Giulia went crazy here. Giulia, like they sacked one guy, and Giulia said, "All right, it's time. I'm
I'm gonna
back."
start wrestling again.
Because she, like, for weeks looked like she had one foot in on SmackDown already. Like,
hmm
fully, I thought this woman was out the door.
The
And now
Probably the
she's,
weakest tag league performance by a top star, and most of them were injured.
yeah.
Um,
Dude,
like
that Gold
it was
Rush
rough.
pay-per-view, I didn't want to say it, but I was like, did she even take like 10 bumps total across 2
No,
matches? Like she was not having any of it, I thought. And then, now she looks more energized than ever. And I think that's really good. Maybe they sacked this Harada guy just in time to keep her because if she had one foot out the door, she definitely has both feet back in right now.
yeah. I mean, even if she leaves, it does feel like she's putting in a lot more work
Mhm.
heading into her leaving than she was before. Um,
It's
and yeah,
like
I think
they did
I
shit
think
in
it.
this that was not house show
Oh
stuff.
yeah,
Like
totally.
there was head drops, and I was like, dude, this is like a pay-per-view match on a house show. Like this is crazy.
Yeah, this felt like an extra 5-star match for Julia. You know what I mean? Because like
Yeah,
Julia usually
honestly.
delivers with the smaller arena 5-star matches. That's like her bread and butter basically. And she really was like, okay, we're gonna make this like this is a 5-star match, and I thought they did perfectly.
Mm.
Um, she threw one disgusting Italian hook, like the punch, like a few seconds before the time limit. That I was just like, bro, that like looked like it went through her head. Like it was insane. Yeah, I mean, I'm always ready to call Julia washed. I think that she underdelivers more for me than a lot of other wrestlers do. But then she just randomly shows up and is like, "Yeah, but I'm gonna have this really great match." So am I really washed? And it's like, no, I guess you're not.
Yeah, no, I thought what was great about this is she took the fight to Megan, and that's
Yes,
always
yes.
been like the best stuff with Megan is when people are like genuinely fighting back.
I think
I
that's
thought
why this
Julia.
match worked in Suzu. I mean, outside of the crowd, obviously, but I think
Mm,
that's why this match worked a lot better than the Suzu one because it didn't feel like it was just Megan, you know, pushing her around and then eventually her kind of making a little bit of a comeback, but not really. It felt like it was just a even match that Megan just obviously had the power and size advantage and I think that was a lot better of a way to work it here.
yeah, like Julia was like fearlessly trying to go at Megan Bayne, which is something we
hmm
haven't really seen at all. Like even when Rose Gold had like a 2-on-1 advantage, it was still strategic. Julia was just like, I'm gonna punt you until you go down, basically. And I thought it was really well done. And yeah, the one like suplex from the rope to the inside was nuts. I was like,
Oh
dude,
yeah,
that is
the
crazy.
the
The
Cesaro
German.
thing. Yeah,
Yeah, I was
the
like,
Swan Dive.
why? Like, how are you doing this on a house show? That is nuts. So yeah, that was great. That was a really really good match. I would say that's probably Megan's best in Stardom. It depends on how you
It's up
feel
there.
about some of the tag matches, but as far as singles matches go, I think this is
Oh,
better than
definitely
even the
singles
Tam one.
match. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah,
I would
definitely.
put it at least up there with the Tam one, if not better. I don't
Mm,
really remember much from the Tam match though.
that's fair. The main event then was Siri, Mirai, and Amisori beating Natsuko Tora, Rocca, and Rina. Amisori got the win over Rina in just under 18 minutes with the Like a Thunder bolt. Um, so yeah.
Yep.
Okay, that gets us on to the Korakuen Hall show
Hmm.
from yesterday, November 28th. This was in Korakuen Hall. They did 1,117 fans, so a real return to form there. Kind of with the the red belt back in circulation, tag belts back around people's waists, even though they aren't champion. Obviously AphroditE returning. Stardom got a good number. It really felt like this was the one where it was like, okay, the energy is back. Um, so it's good to see that the fans kind of know that as well. I think the fans not showing up was very much an indication of the show as kind of being a slog and nothing really happening. Why are you going to buy a ticket to a show when nothing is happening? Whereas obviously here, we had 1,000 people show up on a Tuesday because this was a show worth watching.
Yeah, no, I mean this was a very good show. It was like on paper it was a good show, and I think in execution it was a really good show as well, from everything I saw at least.
Mm. Um, this only went up earlier, so I had to I only finished the last match I was watching 10, 15 minutes before we came on, so I couldn't
Oh
watch
yeah,
everything.
I stalled. I said I'm gonna be 5 minutes late because I wanted to finish the last
Yeah,
match I was watching. Um,
so I didn't get to watch the opener. It was Rina beating YUZUKI in 9.5 minutes with a double diving knee drop, and you have
shouts out
said that
Chris
this was
Wolf.
really, really good.
Yes, this was very good. It was one of the better arena singles matches I've seen this year, honestly.
Wow.
Because she has a way of working those new blood singles matches that are like they're good, but they're not like you don't really remember them much outside of just that they happened. I would say this was up there with like the Azusa match that was like really good. Um, because yeah, it felt like a redux of the Momo match.
Mm,
In that like they did a very similar style. It's just Rina isn't, one-time best wrestler in the world, Momo Watanabe. So it's like you can't really fault it for being a little bit worse than that. But I think that Yuzuki even showed her growth from there to here, in that it just felt like she was way more in it, and it was way more of a I don't know. Maybe it was a Korakuen thing because I think Korakuen does improve the vibes of matches. You know what I mean? Like
mm.
a great match in Korakuen is better than a great match in the middle of nowhere, quite frankly. Um, in my opinion, it's like Dave Meltzer in the Tokyo Dome. That's how I am with Korakuen Hall. Um, but yeah, I thought this was really good. Yuzuki looked great. Rina looked great. Everybody looked great. It was a very good match.
All right. Afterwards, they had both kind of made mentions that Yuzuki wants to win the future belt.
Hmm.
Reno was even like, "Oh, you're really good." Like, I don't want to admit it, but you're really good. And Yuzuki was like, "Oh yeah, my first goal is to win the future belt." So this might be something they go back to, depending on how quickly they push Yuzuki. But
Hmm.
maybe not. I would say Reno has dropped it by then, but who knows? Honestly, she could
I feel
hold it
like
for a
Miyu has
while.
to win it before Yuzuki.
Yeah, that does seem to be what they would go with, especially with New Blood West being a thing now.
Hmm.
Isn't Miyu Misaki from
She
the
is.
West? Yeah, they might do a change there.
She also
Bef-
hasn't challenged yet,
that's
so
true. Yeah,
it's
she's
about that
kind of
time.
yeah. So I'd say Miyu Misaki to Yuzuki maybe.
That would
Uh,
make sense to me.
yeah, it would depend. Now the next match is Fukigen Death beating Hina with a backwards roll up. So cool.
O'Connor roll
That was
probably.
4 minutes long. Kyoryo Oniyama getting that. She's not paid by the minute, that's for sure. Um,
She never was.
No. We have a three-way match then. Suri Ano beat Hanako and Miyu Misaki. Ano pinned Hanako in 7.5 minutes with a Hurricane Rana. So I assume it
Mm.
was maybe it was a Frankensteiner is what they mean. Because
Yeah,
you do
it's
it into the pin.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the Rana is the pin.
Is it? Oh, right. Okay. I thought it was
Yeah,
the
it's the
Frankensteiner
inverse.
was the
You're
pin.
thinking of the inverse. Yeah,
Right. Okay.
Frankensteiner is technically it without the pin.
I
The
see.
Rana
Okay.
is with the pin, but people
All right.
just don't really conform to that.
That's fair. We had Starlight Kid, Rocca, and Natsuko Tora beating Hazuki, Hanan, and Saida. Natsuko Tora pinned Ida with a Death Valley bomb in just under 8 minutes.
This
So,
was good. This
yeah.
was good.
Okay.
It was kind of just like a sprint. It was
Ooh.
quick, fast. Um, Hanan and Starlight Kid did great work together.
Hmm.
I'm starting to think that Hanan does deserve a bit more of a place in that Kid Azumi area than she's getting, because she's very quickly maybe not as good as an Azumi, and if Starlight Kid's of your taste, then she's probably not as good as Starlight Kid, but she is improving insanely fast, to the point where I'm just kind of like she's keeping up, sometimes outpacing Starlight Kid in sort of these matches. And she's showing up in those matches against Izumi. So Hanan's definitely showing up, and I think this match was another indication of that. Very good.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, I didn't get to see this one, but I'm glad to hear it.
Natsuko also
Um,
simply won because Ida loses to Oedo Tai exclusively.
yes,
Um,
yeah. Which good for Tora to get a win.
she's won like 3 times against Natsuko Tora, like
Oh
ever
my god,
in
that's
tag team
wild.
matches.
Speaking of Oedo Tai, our first
Mm.
round match in the World of Stardom Championship tournament saw Momo Watanabe beat Mina Shirakawa in 10 minutes with a peach sunrise. Um, this was the match where I was like, okay, we are fully back. Like the
Hmm.
crowd was so into it. The work was really well done. I even liked the heal stuff from Oedo Tai, not only because it protects Mina, but also because it set Momo up as the antagonist of this specific show. Like she
Mm.
clearly had to cheat to win. That made it so that when she faced off with Maika in the final, spoiler alert, it was her and Maika in the final, uh, the people wanted to see her lose because they had just seen her cheat Mina out of this win so clearly. Like she had like 4 different interference spots
I
to
think
win.
I think the Natsuko thing was the only point where I was like, okay, that's excessive. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like
yeah,
I was
they
like, that's
did.
a
They
bit
did
much.
a little bit of overkill.
Her getting in and hitting her finish, it's like, okay, like I get protecting Mina. That was a bit much. Like it's just
A
like
smidge, a smidge.
Momo
Yeah,
Momo could probably win just with the bat and the finish. Like, you know what I mean? Maybe like a pullout. Like I get that. But with the Natsuko thing, that's when I started being like, okay, this is but no, I agree. I thought it was like a return to form for them. I know you were a fan of their match in the 5 star. I wasn't as much of one. I think that the bulk of this match was better, just because it felt like they were really just going at it, which I love
mm,
from them. Um, you know, Momo's at her best in singles matches in Korakuen Hall, in my opinion. I think that's like not a hot take. Uh, and yeah, I thought this was a very good match until it got a bit heavy on the interference, because I agree with you. I get what you're saying. That's like the interference uh had good reason for it, and it like made sense, and I agree. But like I just kind of got tired of it by the time it actually caused the finish.
that's fair. Yeah, it did get a little bit excessive towards the end, especially when Mina kind of kicked out of the was it the peach? No, it wasn't the peach. It was the one before the peach.
It would be
Um,
the tequila or the
the
peach.
tequila.
Mm.
'Cause, yeah, Momo hit her with one of those, and she kicked out at, like, 2.9, but it almost looked like Momo just rolled it through, so I'm not sure. But I remember
Mm.
being like, "Okay, Mina's been killed, and now she's kicking out of that, like, that's a bit much as well." But I think in general, like, yeah, I mean, yeah, like, there was a point where they were just kicking each other, and I was, like,
That was so
standing and
fun.
applauding.
That was so
Yeah,
fun.
that's what I'm here for. But the crowd was, like, eating out of their hands for basically everything they did. So, like, it was really fun to just see a raucous Korakuen crowd for a Stardom match. Like,
Hmm.
it was really fun. And yeah, I thought they did a good job of setting Momo up as, like, the antagonist really to kind of
That
everybody else. That led us into our next match, which is also a World of Stardom Championship tournament match. Maika beat Ami Sourei in 9.5 minutes with a Michinoku driver. They started fast and just kind of kept going. Ami attacked
I thought
her.
this was really good.
Oh, it was like it
I
was
loved
just
this match.
it was just Haas stuff. Like they were just throwing shoulder blocks, throwing lariatos, just doing it. They
You've
started
been one
fast.
to you've been one to talk about Micah being a very New Japan a Puro pilled wrestler.
Yeah,
This was that 2010s Never Openweight Championship classic right there. Like
I'm right.
this is what that was. You know what I mean? Like I loved this match so much. I thought the build to it was great, and I
Hmm.
thought that the way that they executed it was great. I think this was like Ami showing what she has the potential to be and not just what she is, which is what I've
Yeah,
been talking about for weeks now. I felt like this was like her match, right? I think they wanted the Giulia match to be her match. It wasn't. Um, I think this was like a match you can kind of point to and be like, that's where Ami can be great, is in a match like this.
Hmm.
I really like this, obviously.
Yeah, no, it was good. Like Ami tried to like get an upper hand. She attacked Maika during her entrance and like was beating her up outside. And they were doing hot stuff on the outside. And Ami was even getting the upper hand. Like Maika really had to fight back into the match, and kind of prove that she's the better powerhouse. So like
I
they
thought the no
really played
selling was
into
well
their
done as well.
strengths.
Because it
Yeah.
felt like they were always like, "Man, no, fuck you. I'm not taking that." And they just give, like it had like a venom to it that I think sometimes feels manufactured, but it didn't here. It felt like
Mm.
it was like it felt authentic, which is very important
It,
because I
it
feel
it
like
was big
that's
boy
an
season
issue Ami
hours,
has.
like real
Yes,
big boy season stuff, like just full on meat slapping. So
shouts out Biggie one time.
yeah. So yeah, I thought that was really well done as well. And it was a really good showing from Amy. Like definitely one of her like standout performances since joining
Yes.
Stardom. And it set Mike up really well heading into the final as kind of this like, hey, she had a great match. Keep an eye on her. So I thought they did their job really, really well there. Um, yeah, can I move on to the next match, or do you have more?
Uh, no, that was just really good.
All right.
It was nearly a great match, I would say. It was like a smidge off of a, I don't know why I've been saying smidge so much today, but it was like a smidge off of a legitimately great match from Amisore.
That's
Didn't
fair.
expect to say that.
Our next match was Tekla and Alice Ink wrestling to a draw when both of them were counted out in 8 minutes. Thought, this was a good showing by Ink. Tekla was kind of getting under her skin and just being a general annoyance. And Ink was trying to fight back and squash
Mm.
the bug, basically. So it was kind of well done. The count out finish was kind of whatever, but I thought it was a solid match, really well played from both people.
Yeah, I think it was kind of hard to shine on this show because it was such a competitive card. I
Mm.
mean, like look at the matches that it's in between. Like this is
Yeah.
not an easy, and I didn't even watch the next match, but I heard it was also quite good. Um, Like it's just a hard show to kind of show off on, and I think that's what this match suffered from. I thought it was a solid match, but it was definitely one of the matches where it's like I probably could have skipped it. It was just a good match, and this show was kind of chock full of good matches. So, you know,
That's for sure. The next match, as you said, was Mirai and Suri beating Mai Sakurai and Giulia. Mirai pinned Mai Sakurai in 9 minutes with a lariat. So I guess that's the Mai Sakurai white belt talks ended fairly decisively.
thank
Um,
God.
Maya's over though. She had people chanting escargot, um, which is snails, if
Yes,
I'm not mistaken. She did
something like that.
a partnership a few days ago with some like restaurant about their like escargot food. So yeah, people are into the My Sakurai. It is incredible. But yeah, I didn't watch this one. I had the other matches kind of on
Neither.
tap. The next match was the AphroditE return match. Saya Kamatani, Azumi, and Utami Hayashishita went to a 15-minute draw with Megan Bayne, Mei Sarah, and Suzuki. By God, did I miss Utami and Saya. I didn't
Yeah.
really realize just how much I missed them until they walked out. I heard the entrance going for Utami, and I was like, man, this is what we've been
I
missing.
didn't expect to have missed Utami so much because it's only been like a month. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it's been like 5 weeks maybe, where it's like, oh, but like Auto when she was in there, I was just like, this is my future goat.
Hmm.
Like I'm so happy she's back, and obviously I'm happy Sai's back. Um, as I kind of alluded to earlier, I think Sai's going to have a harder time, as expected, kind of getting back to the flow that she was in. I think at certain points this match, I kind of like felt like she was a bit off, but not to the point where I was like concerned, just to the point where I was like, okay, it's her first match, it's her birthday, it's a loud ass Korakuen Hall, it happens. Like there's not much that I'm like nervous about when it comes to her, but I do think that Utami just kind of came back and just was like, "Yeah, I'm back, and I'm still Utami, and I'm still the goat, so I'm here." And I thought that was just one of my favorite parts of wrestling I've seen this week, basically.
Yeah, that's fair, honestly. Like Utami's new gear and everything, I was just like, man, this is
Love
star
it.
this is star power in a bottle. Like this is ridiculous. Saya had new gear as well. The she's dripped out with the feathers and stuff for her
The robe
entrance.
is crazy. Yeah,
It
I
is.
love
It's
Saya's
very
new
good.
robe.
And like she got the majority of the match.
Mhm.
Like we'll get onto that in a bit, but this was definitely like a reminder of just how powerful Utami is. Like, holy shit, man, she is something else when she's like feeling it, you know.
Mhm.
Um, so it was really good to see her back, and just really good to get the both of them back. Like they work so well as a team. The people are really into them as a duo. You know, like I think the Japanese fans especially just love the dynamic between them. Kind of like we saw
Funnily
in the
enough,
past.
in these 15 minutes, I don't think Azumi tagged in once.
She didn't even need to. But
She
she
didn't. I'm
also
not saying
looked
that she
great.
needed to, but it was very funny to me.
Like the
Yes, she did.
QQ like pose when they were
Oh, they
in
idle
the ring.
posed. Like
Yeah,
Azumi and Talasaya were waiting for Utami, and they were just standing in the ring, kind of just like looking cool. And then they're like, "Yeah, then she's here." And then they just
yeah.
hit the po. It was sick.
Aura. That
These
right there.
motherfuckers are sick.
That right there is aura. You
The
cannot touch Queen's
inverse
Quest.
of Lexus King, right there.
Yeah,
That's the direct opposite.
that is true. The actual match then, they made some very obvious. They made some things very obvious.
Yeah.
Suzu and Saya started the match and ended the match. They also had a kind of forehead to forehead moment after the match. They could not be making it more clear that Suzu versus Saya is their big match.
Mhm.
I imagine.
Which calls into question who wins that main event. Um,
Yes, that's true. But
I we'll talk about it after the next match, actually.
I would suspect the plan is Suzu and Saya at the Yokohama show in April. That
Mm,
just seems to be a big match for a relatively big arena, and they've started to build it already. So why not? By then, you'd imagine AphroditE has dropped the tag belts, so like
yeah.
Saya will be free for that. But yeah, like Suzu and Saya quite clearly got a long section of this to build to something, whereas Utami was actually paired off with Megan Bayne because, as they did after the match, Utami and Saya are challenging for the tag belts. So
Mhm.
they were kind of setting up Utami and Megan there as the main pairing for a goddess tag match, basically.
Yeah, you could see it on the page on the results page. May Sarah threw a drop kick at Utami, and it was one of the nastiest drop kicks I've seen in a minute. It was so fucked. I loved it. Um, and yeah, I thought that Utami and Megan are like they're going to be very good opposite each other in a 2-on-2 match because like Utami just fucking Germaned her out of her boots like it was nothing, and
Mm.
I was like, oh. Like, you almost forget how much of a power wrestler Utami is, like, how strong she is, like, legitimately, because she just it was like it was nothing. She just fucking tossed her, and I was like, "Holy shit." Like, that's the first time, uh, like, Suzu's done that to Megan before, but it looked like a struggle. Utami was just like, "Yeah, you going. You are going over my head right now." And I thought that was sick. There was a big pop for Utami as well. I think, and I was gonna say it for later. I think that the thing about Aphrodite, I hate that you say it Aphrodite because
They say Aphrodite.
I know you do,
Like like
I
they say
know,
it as
but
well.
that
Saya said
I
Aphrodite.
fuck up what I say because I'm trying to say Aphrodite, but then I also say Aphrodite, and then, you know what I mean? It sucks.
Yeah.
Aphrodite. I think that one of them is challenging the Red Belt champion at the Yokohama show. Just depends on who's the champion. That's how I see it. I
Ooh,
think
okay.
Maika Utami,
Yeah, yeah. I'm
because I
into it.
feel like Utami is still the top dog. Like even though like in this return, obviously Sai's going to take longer to come back because her injury was a lot worse and a lot more specific. But it just felt like even though her and Suzu were obviously paired, it felt like Utami still is just like ever present. Like I cannot imagine her
Yeah.
going a
Well,
year without challenging.
yeah. I mean, Utami came out last, which is usually
Yeah.
a sign of like this is the big one.
Which she is the
Um,
leader. None of them
she
have
is.
belts, so she's the leader, it makes sense, but
Yeah.
yeah, that's part of it.
You had that, and then also like when the entrance was over, it was largely people yelling Utami.
Mhm.
Not to undersell Saya at all. Like this was,
No.
Saya is on track for big things. But it was definitely like the crowd was like yelling for Utami. She
And,
got
like,
the
me
last
personally,
entrance.
I would be cool if they just ran an Aphrodite tag reign for a while. Like, I don't
Yeah.
need these singles matches right now. I think that them as a tag team is so money. I've been waiting for them to kind of go back to that and kind of like focus on that for a minute. So this isn't me saying like, oh, they need to drop like fuck AphroditE as a tag team, because I love them as a tag team. I think that they should get some legs with that reign. But I think that either Utami versus Maika or Saya versus Suzu is that match at Yokohama.
Yeah, and I think they've made that clear. I mean, we said it a few weeks ago. Saya and Suzu were calling each other out in Tokyo Sports, and that
Mhm.
was kind of when I started to wonder about Tam, and maybe dropping it to Suzu. So like, I feel like they have said twice now that Suzu and Saya is your match, but if they do change plans, then yeah, Utami and Maika is like a very easy layup to do as well. Because I don't think you do Utami Suzu that quickly. I feel like that's a match that you sit on because that's a big one. Um, yeah, I think it depends on who they go with for the red belt. Um, and I don't know if you want to go straight onto that because
I actually have a couple quick things. I know that we're
all
going
right,
a bit long, but
yeah,
Saya hit a modified Emerald Flosion, the
yes,
nastiest shit,
that was crazy.
and Suzu had to kick out because May was late, and I was so upset because I was like, that should be like your like super finisher, homegirl. That shit was
Mm,
disgusting. Why did she kick out the first time you hit it? I know it's because she had to, but like I was just like, oh no. And then she also did the old Kagetsu trope of always hit your finish even if the bell rings.
yes,
And I love that. I love that. Shouts out the trainer. Um, because yeah, that's always a classic. Because I was just like, man, fuck you, I'm in this anyway. And I love that spot every time it happens in a draw. So
it's
yeah.
great, honestly.
Then
Um,
the aftermath, Saya tried to speak English. She challenged uh Megan Bayne in English, and it was very funny because she was like super intense with every word she said in English, and then she forgot a word, and she was like,
mhm.
"Oh fuck, I don't remember what it
I think she forgot
was."
4. She was like, "We challenge you, those." It was like she forgot 4, which is the easiest part.
Yeah. I know. It was either for or goddess. And I was like, those are both words that you say. Like that is like those are things that you like, especially goddess. I was just like, how did you forget that? That's like
Yeah,
that's a loan word.
it's
But
crazy.
yeah, I'm happy they're back. I'm very happy.
Mhm.
Utami kept doing the Yana pose for some reason. I don't know, but I love them.
They're great, honestly. At one point, Utami, because Saya finished the match, she was like checking on her to make sure she's okay. And oh my, Japanese
It
women
was
were
it was
horny.
very it
They
was
were
yeah.
like, the quote tweets are amazing. These women are just like, I wish somebody would treat me the way Utami does. And I was like, that is crazy.
No, but that's so valid.
Never
That is so
underestimate the
valid.
power of a tomboy. Like tomboys, they rule the roost, man. Women love them a tomboy. So fair play.
Hey, I
Um,
I agree with women. Shit.
that's right. Tomboys, femboys, the world is as it is. The most popular among
Oh
us.
shit, Momo came out with the fucking ponytail. That must have been a great match.
So the main event then was the World of Stardom Championship tournament final. Maika beat Momo Watanabe in 14.5 minutes with a Michinoku driver number 2. Um, this was another like well done match, and I was just blown away. This crowd was so on board for Maika winning. Because as I said, kind of Momo was established as the big bad, so she was like
Hmm.
beating on her before the bell, attacking her outside, like really laying in, and the crowd was just super into the Micah comebacks. Like there's a point where she does her suplex off the top rope and rolls it into another suplex, and the crowd went bonkers. Like they were so loud for Micah as she got that comeback. And Momo kind of teased them really well as the heel. She was like very aggressive, very good at grounding Maika, very good at kind of keeping the crowd interested. And she and obviously sold like nobody's business when Maika got back into it. This was a great final in that you had Maika kind of beating the big bad, and Maika came out of it like a babyface hero almost.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't get to see it. I'm excited to see it, but Micah is absurdly popular.
They might have
Like,
a Maika problem because she got on the microphone after the match, and before she even spoke, just the entire crowd was chanting for Maika. Like, I haven't heard a wrestler in Stardom get reactions like this in ever. Like, I cannot recall the last wrestler to have the entire Korakuen just chanting their name, you know? And
I mean, there's
this,
definitely been cases of it, but I get what you
like, the
mean.
closest is Utami in the cage match, maybe. And that was a few,
Yeah.
that was what people are considering like the best match of the year. So, you have Maika now on 2 occasions having essentially an entire venue behind her to win. Um, they might have a Maika problem on their hands. She might be too popular for this Suzu match because Suzu is the likely winner. But the
Mhm.
crowd, the people, they seem to really want Maika.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, I've been saying it for like a week. If because Suzu was supposed to be champion, allegedly, that's the report. Um, if Maika isn't winning, she should not be in this match. I know that it's like it's the only story they got, but like that's a that's a rough
yeah.
reality. Like that's not gonna. This is not gonna be good for Suzu. 'Cause either she loses or she wins, but it doesn't sit right with a lot of people, and I think that's not the
Mhm.
way you want to start. This young
And it's
legends
it's not even one of those
program.
where you can say, "Oh, this is just the English speaking fans." No, this is the people in the venues. The
Yeah,
people in the venues are yelling for Micah, and they are not English speaking fans. Well, I'm sure some of them are, but you can't say all of them are. Like, this
no,
is the native audience, and
I
they
mean
are
it's
super into her.
it's in a way it's comparable to Jungle Kiona, which I hate that Micah is so jungle pilled in that way.
Yeah.
But it's like I don't know. I because I was having this kind of debate with some people this week that it's like I think Micah is more in tune, like in line with for the red belt right now than Jungle Gion ever was, um, which is obviously not something that old Stardom fans want to hear.
Mhm.
But it's like it's kind of the case that we're in because it's like it's hard to argue against her winning the belt right now, unfortunately for Suzu.
Yeah. Now, if they like are actually into it, and it seems like they know what they're doing, because Suzu is taking up a slightly heelish position. She was kind
Mm.
of saying like, "This is going to be the beginning of your hell. Like, I'm going to make like life hell for you. You lost to me, and I'm going to beat you again." Whereas Micah is like, "I'm the one with momentum. I am fighting. I haven't got injured. I'm going to keep going." Like they're very clearly presenting Micah as like the baby face of the story,
I
and
mean,
Suzu as the
she
heel.
already kind of presented herself as the savior of Stardom. That was kind of her adage in the
Yeah.
she did an interview recently.
Oh yeah, she kind
Um,
of went with that as well. It's like I didn't get injured and I'm still here. Look at
yeah,
me. I have momentum.
which is
Um,
interesting because this entire time, the story has very clearly been that Suzu is the least dickish of the two. I mean, she started being
yeah,
dickish, but then Micah just kind of went full tilt with it.
yeah. I
But
think
yeah,
they have an opportunity to make it work.
mhm.
Um, because even if Maiko loses, if the follow through is proper, you can have her win later. Um, but I don't like. It feels like they want Saya to be the next champion. So how do how long do you
I
wait
mean,
on
Micah
Maika?
could lose to Saya very easily, but
She
then
could.
Suzu just completely gets skipped over with
Yeah, like if it is Micah, you're looking at like a 2-year thing. You're looking at a Naito-esque story where she kind of gets overlooked, and you're just on the long path to the redemption.
mm,
Because if she's being positioned as a babyface, then they at least know she's popular, that the crowd wants her to win. But I just don't know how that's going to work when if Suzu actually does win at Sumo Hall. Like I
I
just don't know
mean,
how that goes down to people.
they clearly aren't afraid to do multiple red belt champions in a year. So I could see it do them doing the inverse and having it go Micah wins it here, loses it to Saya, and then Saya loses it to Suzu, and they just do the Suzu
Does
thing
that
they wanted
mean
to do this year,
Suzu
next
wins
year.
2 GPs in a row? Or does Saya win a Nominator
Mm.
Challenger? Like,
Oh
that's
fuck,
the big
that's a
issue,
hard
you
yeah,
know? Because
that's a hard sell.
you're booking around April and December. That's how you're going, I
Mm.
assume. Because I don't foresee the red belt changing on a random show in July. Maybe I'm wrong, but if they could,
They do like doing that.
yeah, maybe. But I doubt it's a good problem to have if somebody is too popular. But I definitely just wonder how they're gonna manage it because it feels like Maika has a real groundswell of momentum that you can't ignore. But also, can you have Suzu not get the Tam match, lose to Maika, and not lose a lot of momentum? Like, I don't know how Suzu kind of recovers from that, but he's young enough. Maybe she'll be fine. I don't know. I don't envy Rossi right now because,
No.
like, his best story is essentially the woman he wants to be champion is not the more popular one of the two,
Do
based on the crowd
they
reactions.
do they do Micah dirty
Could,
and like have her win and then drop it pretty quick, like V1 V2 type
to be
points?
honest, I wouldn't even mind. Like, Micah winning is
I
almost
would
the
get it.
moment. Like,
I wouldn't particularly like it, but I would get it.
yeah.
Um,
Well, I assume
because
Saya would beat her in April, which would be like V2, V3, maybe.
yeah, I'm thinking around the Cinderella. Because I feel
Mm,
like Suzu, the only tournament that she hasn't, I mean, God League, but the only, singles tournament like that, I feel like her winning the Cinderella is something that I could see happening. Um, so that she doesn't have to win the red belt, or she doesn't have to win the 5-star again. Uh,
that is a Giulia level super push right there.
yeah, that's
Actually,
where
even
we're at,
quicker than
baby.
Giulia. Even
Yeah,
quicker than Giulia. Both tournaments in 12 months and a red belt. Damn.
that's a Tony Storm level push right there.
Yeah.
Except on purpose, not accident.
Yeah.
Well, mostly at least. Um, Yeah, I don't know. It's a hard. Yeah, like you said, I do not envy Rossi Ogawa right now because I don't know what the fuck I would do.
Yeah. Well, I know what I would do. I would go with Micah. But I see I'm always for going for what's hot and seeing what you have. That's kind of my view of wrestling, but not everybody would agree with that, I think.
Hmm.
Um, we have shows to preview. You wouldn't think it, given how long we have spoken. Um, there's a good few of them as well. Do you want to just
It's
focus on the pay-per-view? Because these smaller shows, they don't really matter, I don't think, in the grand scheme.
03, 05, and 06 are the ones that we would be talking about probably.
Yeah, I mean, they're house shows. They're the
I'm just
God's
looking through them real
Eye
quick.
multi-tag mains.
Uh,
They don't have it on
Scott
the schedule. You'd have to go through the
they have them
thing.
on the news. Yeah, that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
Scott posted a tweet of like the interesting ones. We can kind of go through them if you want, and that's just it.
No, I think the pay-per-view is gonna take a while,
Okay.
to be honest with you. Do they have the full? No, they don't have it there. Hold on, I have to. They've taken a step back now. They don't have the schedule on the schedule. They have the schedule on news. So a bit of a down step there from Stardom. Um, let's see. So we have a pre-show match. It's Miyu Amasaki and Hanako taking on Mina Shirakawa and YUZUKI. Mina obviously is in a faction of her own without Waka, so she's just teaming with whoever, and that's a pre-show match, so we won't see it anyway. It doesn't count. They don't count, as I don't think. The actual first match of the show is Mai Sakurai versus Rocca. I'd imagine Mai Sakurai wins. They just want to
Yes.
give the popular wrestler a win. Okay.
Unfortunate.
Saori Ano and Yuta Mizumori versus Hanan and Saida. I'd
Wait.
imagine
Oh yeah,
what
yeah, whatever.
I
Oh
would
no,
imagine the Wingori duo pin Yuna, since they are the New Blood champs.
it's against Ano though.
Yeah, but Unimon like Unimon is
I
one of the biggest
agree.
losers they have as far as like who they have take pins. Like it's her and Waka, basically. It's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I'd probably just have like Ida roll her up or whatever. Get the
Yeah,
Ida Bashi.
fair enough. We have Suri, Mirai, and Amisore taking on Natsuko Tora, Momo Watanabe, and Starlight Kid. This was kind of a redux of some of the house show mains, but I don't know. Maybe yeah, God's Eye kind of win that usually.
Uh,
Well, that is the
they
big
they
pre away to time. So
yeah, and they
I
are
don't know.
kind of pushing this like Oedo Tai versus God's Eye story that I don't know where they're going with it. But it's a thing.
That's true because God's
Um,
Eye did take in Saki Kashima. Let's not forget. Yeah, maybe God, maybe
yeah,
away to tie cheats. They seem to be cheating a lot lately. Maybe they're gonna lean on that.
yeah, sure.
I think like Kid or Tora is challenging Mirai. I don't know who's challenging Mirai, but you have to set it up here, wouldn't you?
You would think. Yeah, I mean, the next like actual show that isn't this tour that they're doing is Year-End Climax, I believe. So,
Hmm.
or I
Interesting.
guess the year-end tour final in Osaka. That might be. No, it's
Mm,
not big.
no, no.
No, it's pretty much yeah. Year-End Climax is the 24th, and they kind of need matches before then. So I
Yeah.
expect a lot of matches actually to be made at this show.
Yes.
'Cause they have to.
Yeah, that's true. Um, so our next match is a Goddess of Stardom Championship match. Maika and Megan Bayne take on Utami Hayashishita and Saya Kamatani. Um, I feel like this is a layup for Saya and Utami.
Yes.
Saya did an interview and she was like, "I want to have a tag run with Utami. I want to hold those tag belts." So she kind of gave it away, as Saya is wont to do. To be fair, but also, I
She
mean,
just manifests, Somi.
yeah, she's just good at it. And also Megan, like again, we don't know when Megan is heading home.
But
Maybe you
it's
don't
not.
want.
I don't know if she has enough time for a tag title
Probably not
reign
because
with a
Micah is
person
busy.
who. Yeah, I mean they could
Yeah,
run another one at Year-End Climax and just have him lose it
they
there.
won't. They probably
But
won't.
you're right. Yeah.
I'd imagine it's 1-3, 1-4 maybe, but yeah, you might not have Megan by then. So yeah, I would go with Saya and Utami there. Also, badass new Utami render.
Ooh, where
Wow.
do you even see the renders? I don't
It's
have
on
it.
the news part.
News.
The news.
Uh.
Newgen Group
Oh,
presents.
here.
Remember they were doing a tournament on the show? What the hell happened to that?
Oh no, that's like a that's like a gambling tournament or something.
Oh, okay,
Like
that's
they
fun.
posted on YouTube. Yeah,
'Cause, yeah, I
like it's like a
remember they were
sponsorship
like,
tournament.
because they had Utami, Mirai, and Momo, and Maika, and I was like, "How are they gonna do that?" But,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
yeah.
there was a video of them at like a slot machine or something. I
Oh,
don't know.
right,
It was
okay.
like a thing.
Um,
Micah kept thanking the slot machine for
have you
giving
have you
the
found the
bunch of money.
render? Are you
Yes,
there
I
yet?
have.
Okay.
She's as cool and royal and beautiful as ever.
Yeah. Utami gives me problems because I really want to be Utami, but
Yeah.
obviously that's not possible. So I just have, like, sheer envy every time I see her, so it's great. We have a high-speed championship match. May Sarah defends against Tekla, and May is
Oh,
retaining, but
that's
that
one
should be
thing I didn't
fun.
get to mention in the for the Tekla match against Aliss
I
Ink
didn't understand it, but yeah, I'm glad you
was
picked up on it.
May Sarah was like a second because she's a younger wrestler, so she
Mhm.
takes care of the ring. She holds the ropes open, and she just does that for everybody because she is unaffiliated. Well, Tekla did not like that, so her being a default second was not cool. Tekla tried to kill her, and I found that very funny. Um, because
Incredible.
yeah, May Sarah just as a younger wrestler that's unaffiliated, that's just her kind of duty is to be a
Fair enough.
overall second. And Tekla kicked her out of ringside. She's like, "Wait, so I just don't have to work? Shit, okay, bye." She just dipped.
She was making belt motions. I think she was annoying Tekla.
Yeah, that's also part of it.
But yeah. We have a strong women's championship match. Giulia defends against Azumi.
Mm.
So Giulia and Bane kind of set up a potential rematch, which might be a point to get the belt off of Giulia, depending on maybe not real Mercedes Vernado. Um,
Oh
so
no, we've reduced her from Mercedes Monet to Mercedes Renato before she turns back to Sasha Banks. This is sad.
yeah, so I'd imagine Giulia retains here because she has got the Bane match, maybe, and
She does.
um,
Yeah, she retains here.
yeah, she who will remain unnamed. So yeah, but this is a motivated Giulia now, so this could go crazy. Um, we have a UWF rules match: Nanai Takahashi versus Alice Inc. I'm sure Nanai will somehow find a way to win. Uh, yeah. Then
With
we
the
have a
passion, baby.
sure. We have a World of Stardom Championship Challenge Certificate match. Suzu Suzuki defends her right
Oh
to
fuck,
be in
this
the
is gonna
world
be
title
great,
match
isn't it?
against Hazuki. Yes, they are going to go absolutely crazy, and Suzu is going to retain. But you know what? I'm kind of
Well, not
into it.
retain, but yeah. Well,
I
yeah,
think,
kind of retain. Yeah.
yeah, I think giving Suzu like a headline singles match with somebody as good as Hazuki is a really good idea ahead of December to just go, hey, look how great Suzu is, you know?
Yeah. No, I mean like Hazuki. If you want a good match, put Hazuki in a pay per view singles match. Like
Yes.
It's a
And it's the
very
main event,
simple formula
so
in a
they're
main
gonna get
event,
the
yeah,
spotlight.
especially.
Yeah. So you know what? I'm here for it. Singles matches, we love you. And yeah, that's that show. It's actually a lot more straightforward than I thought. But you know, there are too many house shows. I don't think we should go through them because yeah, we just don't have time. Um,
We also
we
won't be able to like talk about most of them next week because it's like
Yeah, also
uh
next week is awkward because we got a notice today that the electricity is gonna be off on
oh
Thursday
bro.
morning because 'cause they're doing
Mm,
works around here, and that's when I'm
mm.
supposed to edit and post the
Oh,
show. So it's like, this might go very late on Thursday because they were like, "Yeah, your electricity might be gone from, like, 9 until 4," and I'm like, "That is all day." Like, how's it
it
gone
is all
all
day.
day? But, you know, I might just
Y'all
leave.
motherfuckers better not be using the fridge.
Yeah, so that's fun. But yeah, we will figure that out ourselves. But we'll be back next week either way to discuss the Stardom Nagoya Big Winter 2023 and also look ahead to mainly the house show stuff. I imagine we'll have a lot to dig into with announcements and stuff like that.
We'll
So
probably talk about the Wakayama show, whatever is decent on it, because that'll be up by then, I
yeah,
imagine, maybe.
yeah, probably.
Um,
We will
which,
know because they have a
just
schedule now. They let us know in advance. So
yeah.
yeah,
And that looks like a decent show. Like there's
mm,
some all right matches on that. Um,
that
main
there
event
is.
sounds good. It's Stars versus Suzu and her tall and small friend. That'll be
Woo!
fun.
All
Yeah.
right. Oh yeah, we didn't talk about the university match. Damn, forgot all about
Were we
that.
going to?
Well, it was fun.
We didn't even
It,
talk about the Singapore tour that
yeah, but that's not gonna
actually
air. It's
matters.
never gonna air. So I don't know. You don't air those. I don't think it's a point.
Hazuki and Meisera became close friends on that trip,
Okay.
and it looks very wholesome.
All right. Well, that's good.
That's the
I'm glad.
news.
Well, we will be back next week.
We
It is
will.
but before then, it is time to close the show. If you
It
want to stand, you
is.
may stand. If you want to sit, you may sit. Believe today, shine tomorrow. You decide what you believe in. Ijo.
Yo.